cold and flu season, and also kids are in school and sports and other things. So what are some things you can do to hopefully keep them out of the doctor's office? This afternoon we have Dr. Udo Erasmus with us to talk about keeping healthy during the winter months. Hi, doctor. Hey, schools are kind of a petri dish, right? One kid gets sick, the class gets sick, and your whole family gets sick.
Yep. Well, actually, you know, 10% of the biomass on the planet is bacteria and viruses. So they're everywhere, in the air, in the water, in the soil. So getting around people is one issue, but they're everywhere anyway. And we don't call this cold and flu season where I live. We call it vitamin D deficiency season. Why do you get colds in winter but not in summer? Because vitamin D is one of the major protectants against for your respiratory system against viruses and bacteria. It's very important for immune function, cardio function, also respiratory function. So that's the first thing. I take 10,000 units of vitamin D in winter. I take it actually year round now, which is quite high, probably for kids, 3,000 to 4,000. For adults, I know people who take 25,000 units a day, not a problem. So and much higher than we're usually told. We used to be told to take 400 to 1,000, but not more. And it turns out that vitamin D isn't just for bones and teeth. Every cell uses vitamin D, so they have vitamin D receptors. So the research was a little shaky, and about 20 years ago they figured it out, that vitamin D is way more important than we've made it out to be.
You talk about healthy oils, probiotics, digestive enzymes, greens, things like that. So you're kind of a natural. What about vitamin C, for example?
Vitamin C is helpful. It'll shorten the duration of a cold by a couple of days, but it's not as important. I mean, it's important because it's essential, but it's not as important as vitamin D, in my view.
Doctor.
And it's also less important than making sure that when you start getting colds and flus, your throat gets sore, you stop eating sugar, you stop eating sweet foods, and you even cut down on fruit, because sugar knocks down the immune system. A teaspoon will knock down your immune system for 5 to 8 hours. And in those 5 to 8 hours, the viruses and bacteria and even cancer cells go crazy because they love sugar to grow. So that may be the second thing I would do.
That's interesting. I'm very fortunate. I rarely get sick. I was sick about a month ago. Once a year, maybe I go to the doctor for meds, but I'm historically very, very healthy. I think I don't clean I wash my hands when I go to the restroom, things like that, and before I eat. But I don't wear a mask if I don't have to, and I like to get my immunity built up. Do you believe in immunity helping prevent illness?
Oh, absolutely. That's why vitamin D is so important. And the other thing that's really important is if you go more plant-based, especially in cold and flu season, that also supports the immune system. So do probiotics. They support the immune system because, and they do that from inside of our digestive tract. And then the other one is if you eat raw foods or you take digestive enzymes that break down proteins. And what I do is when I get a sore throat, because you're around it all the time, and I live in North Country, I take a capsule of digestive enzymes, open them up, dump them on my tongue, swish them around in my mouth, because the protease enzymes will digest the protein coat off the viruses. And all the flu and cold viruses are protein coat viruses. So they put the protein They put the virus out of commission before it even has a chance to get into your cells. And that's what you want to do. The other way to do that is you can wash your nose. You know, that's hard because washing your hands, they're outies, but your nose is an innie. So you have to run water through the nose and drain it through the other nostril and then do it the other way around. And there are people who do that on a regular basis because that washes out whatever bacteria and viruses collect there because they love to live there.
Dr. Erasmus, we are out of time. I really appreciate some great advice there. So a lot of vitamin D and try to avoid sugar if we can take anything away from that. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Tarian?
All right.